You must build a 5-story building. And this is how you get your wealth and power. Now, the first thing you work on is economics. You started practicing group economics, making your money bounce in your own community 8 to 12 times before it leaves. The second floor is politics. Our people got that backwards. They want to get into politics before they get in the economy. Backwards as hell. You won't make it. You buy every politician with the money you made on the first floor. The third floor is your court system, your police system. You control the court system so they won't be getting 40 years in jail for having marijuana. Then the fourth floor is media. You take your money off the first floor and you buy media. Black folk own 35 thousandths of 1% in media. You don't own media, you can't communicate, you can't organize, you can't motivate. The fifth floor is education. Education is a tool, just like a hammer and a saw. But you got to have an economy. See, when a kid graduates from school, the first thing you do, he should be able to go back to his own community and start building businesses and industries and drawing money into his community and hold it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, thank you for tapping in. This is Rapping with H-Rap. Once again, the hottest 10 minutes in the universe. Thank you for tapping in. Do me a favor, hit that like. Even if you don't watch the whole show, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. If you respect what I'm doing, hit that like button. It is paramount. Today, I'm going to thank my parents as I always do. Without them, there is no me. Without me, there is no program, so forth and so on. Thank you. This is the hottest short podcast in the history of the world. I am talking today about the war that we're facing. We are in the midst of a war. Over the last 18 months, what have I done? I've told people this is the time that we need to get busy. Are we getting busy? I just got a few questions. Are we getting busy, or are we falling victim and falling into a lull of security, or a false sense of security and lull to sleep with the BS about politics? Are we paying attention to the things that are happening right under our nose? Just because you don't see political campaign ads anymore does not mean politics and BS is not going on around us. We are currently at war. Whether you want to admit it or not, we are at war. A lot of people said it couldn't get worse. It's about to get far worse. If your Social Security is upended, if your health care is upended, and in these things that this president has promised his base that he will do, you have liberals on the far left saying, hey, well, we're gonna give him a chance to change. This guy hasn't changed in almost 80 years. Why would he change now? He has the power that he was seeking. He told you he wanted to be a dictator. He told you he wanted to do away with elections. Why would things change? As I told you earlier this week, this is the time that we can use that 5 Calls app and tap in to United States federal government and the House of Representatives, the Senate, and put people in play and let them know that you need things done and you need those things secure. Otherwise, they won't have their jobs. Either they can fear you or they can fear the tyranny that comes on with the president. You need to make it so they fear you. In 2 years, a lot of those guys are up for jobs. In 4 years, the rest of them are up for jobs. And the Senate is the same way. Why are we sitting around saying to ourselves, as I stated, this is not my party, therefore I can't know. You are a member of the House of Representatives, meaning you represent the public. Excuse me. If you're representing the public and you're part of the public, why wouldn't you make demands? Why wouldn't you be in contact with these people? Why wouldn't you do everything you can to ensure your future? This is what's going on. I need you to understand this is what's going on. We can no longer say, hey, politics is not what I'm into. Politics is exactly what you need to be into, especially if you're a member of my community. My community will be attacked the hardest. They may not be attacked first, but they will be attacked the hardest. You can no longer take on the ideology of your oppressor. You cannot no longer identify with the people who oppress you. If you do, you will suffer the consequences. It is imperative that we do everything we can to keep these people off of our backs. We are not doing what we have to do that. And if we don't, what will happen is this. You will suffer the consequences. I promise you will. This is something that is going on and it has been going on. We can no longer say, hey, well, we're going to wait 4 years. You can't wait 4 years because in 4 years, the world may be a place that you have never seen before. Can it get worse? How about the 50s? Were the 50s worse than now? How about the 40s, the 30s, the teens, the 1800s? What about that? These are the things that you have. These are the things that are on the horizon. Like I said, use history. Yesterday, I said, use history as your guideline. If you don't, you will be forced to repeat those things. You have people threatening us. You have single issue politics. Well, the world is this gay agenda that they're putting upon us. Why are we the only people in this lexicon that participates in scare tactic politics? We can no longer do that, folks. We can no longer do those things. You are being used, and your social media is being used to weaponize your ideas against you. The Wall Street Journal, which is a right-wing part of the right-wing political arm of the media, they are backing this guy. They put out a memo yesterday about how Harris spent $1.5 billion in 15 weeks, and they immediately went to Oprah. They attacked Oprah. They attacked Roland Martin, because they know that we're skeptical about each other. They've programmed us to not to be mistrustful of each other. So why would we fall for those bananas in the tailpipe? We can no longer do that. We got duped like that 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when the order of the day was diversity, equity, inclusion. They're still attacking that, and critical race theory. If you don't have a college degree, you won't have critical race theory as a point of your education. But they got a bunch of pastors in Florida to do away with Black history that teaches about homosexuality. First of all, we don't know who was homosexual. It's not that many people who are part of the LGBTQIE community. And in history, some of those people played some of the greatest roles in regards to thinking, in regards to policy, in regards to organizing. Why would you allow someone who has immersed themselves into hate to tell you what to teach your children or not to teach your children? History is a wide scope. If you don't want us to teach anything about gay or lesbian or homosexuality, anything of that nature, well, I don't need to hear anything about the Roman Empire, because Julius Caesar's nickname was every woman's husband and every man's wife. And if you didn't know that, then now you do. So we need to get rid of all this stuff. But no, we allow our xenophobia in regards to other things and to stop us from learning what we need to learn. If they're talking about deleting things from your history and you think it's not important, like I keep saying, I could just delete one day from history and it'll change the course of history as you know it. The day you were born. That's the only day I need to delete, and you disappear. But you wouldn't want to do that. So if we don't need to know that part of history, we don't need to know that George Washington never told a lie, and those foolish fables that we were fed as children throughout the entire course of our education. This is why math is imperative, because it allows us to think deeper than the surface. You think it's about the numbers, but it's about lateral thinking, vertical and horizontal thinking. That's what it's about. It's not about the numbers. And we keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe and allowing the people who don't like us to tell us how to do things. We must get away from that. It's time to end that line of thinking. Why are we not paying attention to the fact that the appointment to Human Health Services by RFK Jr.? You may think, he's just one guy, but he's one guy who does not believe in vaccinations. Guess what vaccinations helped us get rid of? Polio. If vaccinations don't work, explain that to Wilma Rudolph, who went from polio to Olympic sprinter. Explain that. Chicken pox, measles, and things of that nature were the scourge of the earth at one point. Those vaccinations got rid of that. Maybe you need to be working on staggering the vaccinations instead of pumping a young person whose body is developing and a bunch of vaccines into a young person whose body is developing. Maybe you need to do it like when we were children, at 6 months, at a year, at 3 years, at 5 years, and then you had to be fully vaccinated by the time you started school. Maybe we need to go back to that instead of just pumping all these drugs into our children. Maybe that's what we need to work on. But to pretend that vaccinations don't work just because you don't believe in it again. I thought this was the land of the free and home of the brave, and you had the right to do what you wanted to do. Your policies are not my policies, Mr. Kennedy. So don't try to infuse those with mine. Another thing, the Attorney General. Why is the Attorney General a person who had to leave his seat in the Senate or the House. I think it was the House of Representatives, because he's going around the House of Representatives, the hallowed halls, as they call them, showing people that he was having sex at drug-induced parties. You know, like the ones y'all been mad at Diddy for the last month. A member of our House of Representatives was going around the floor of the House showing that he was having sex, drug-induced sex with underage girls. And this dude might be the Attorney General. Why would you do that? Why would you participate in that? That makes absolutely, positively no sense at all. But we're not paying attention to these things. Dr. Oz is going to be in charge of the healthcare institutions. Why are we continuing to put television personalities in some of the highest positions in the land? This is asinine. But we're not paying attention anymore, just because there are no more ads and there are no more situations that we need to be concerned with. Hey, I don't really deal with politics. But either you're gonna deal with politics or they're gonna deal with you. Look at history. Everybody's afraid of the new incumbent leader. Kind of like at the end of World War I and the beginning of World War II. It was this one little guy who was insecure and backed things that he couldn't stand up to, and then he ended up trying to take over the world. Hey, guess what? This guy has the strongest military in the history of Earth. His military is 27 times the number 2 military, not to mention the other militaries around the world. This guy, allegedly, that the leader of Russia has him on such a string that he's the one who leaked the nude pictures of his wife, and he still is an allegiance with him. You go to the YouTube page that you're watching this on, and you will see that one Donald J. Trump was duped into the oil crisis that has your gas insanely high. We are not paying attention to these things because we're worried that Roland Martin out of a budget of $1,500,000,000 got $350,000 to run ads. And that's what we're talking about. We're listening to the Wall Street Journal that supports the other side of the aisle, the people that don't like us. I'm not on either side, but I'm just saying, if you're rolling with the right wing, definitely, I'm not listening to you. But we continue to put on social media how we're bickering, what we're bickering about, or black men and black women fight. High-level men, high-level women. What are you bringing to the table? We don't trust our media figures. We don't trust this and we don't trust that. So I thought, if we're in the midst of a battle, why are we telling our enemy, we're flanking to the left, we're flanking to the right, we're falling back? You're giving them the opportunity to destroy you. We continue to do this, and we will eventually end up in the worst situation in the history of the world. Last but not least, this is what I told you guys about last week. The reason they continue to offer us money and things of that nature is because if you sit still long enough, you'll take root. What am I speaking about? I'm talking about one coach, Coach Prime Sanders. He left Jackson State University to go to Colorado University because it was a better situation. And now they're trying to get him to leave because if he takes root in Colorado, what is he going to do? He's going to bring in more Warren Sapps. He's going to bring in more Ed Reeds. He's going to bring in more Everson Walls, and I can't think of Dennis Thurman as his defensive coordinators. He's going to bring those guys in and make those guys head coaches. And once they dominate, much like the most recent dominant coach Nick Saban, once they continue to dominate, those black guys will get jobs at Power 5 conferences. And as I told a friend earlier today, college coaches are hired to become legends. Pro coaches are hired to get fired. Now they don't want him to take root in Colorado. They want him to unroot himself and go down to Dallas to set himself up to be fired. No coach in the history of football. Don Shula retired. I don't remember any long-time successful coaches outside of Shula. And that will be it, that didn't get fired. So why would you leave? Why wouldn't you go on to be the Eddie Robinson of Colorado? Why won't you go on to be the Bobby Bowden of Colorado? Why don't you go on to be whatever legendary coach you can think of, the Coach K, the Dean Smith, and what Adolph Rupp's, the Coach Woodens of the world, and be Coach Prime of Colorado instead of taking a job that is better? No. Take root. This is why they want us. This is why when you build up your business, they give you more money to shut your business down so you won't take root in your community and blossom into something beautiful. As I say every day, I will see you tomorrow. It is important that you do these things, look into these things, and support your own. 2 fingers, 1 word. It's your man, H-Rap, and y'all.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why